Hey, what's up, guys? Good to be back with you again. We've got the second go around here around the league. We are playing against the Taputimu Youth once again. We beat them the first time around. We should be able to beat them again today. And I think we are going to keep Nordy in there as well as Walter Assam. We're just going to go ahead and send the team out there and see what happens. Off is one yellow card away from a suspension, and we did just have a suspension to one of our big defenders whose name eludes me at the moment, but whoever's not on our team is the one who has been suspended. So there you have it. We'll see if we're okay at the back or not. Actually, no, it's not Palipua or Fetuao. So I can't remember off the top of my head who was suspended, or it may have been for the last match, and I've just completely forgotten about it. Taputimu Youth are in 5th place, which puts them kind of middle of the football world here in American Samoa. And I think that's a pretty good sign that we probably should be able to win this match. We'll see what happens. A win here would put us theoretically as much as 7 points ahead, I'm sorry, it should be 8 points ahead, shouldn't it? But we'll see what happens in reality. And it's Palipua with the ball, and he lumps this forward for Maile. And unfortunately, Toa is not quite able to get to that one. We had a big layoff here of about a week or so in game, which, as you can imagine, with all the stuff I've got loaded up, took me about an hour to play through. It wasn't much playing. It was a lot of sort of sitting around looking at the screen and waiting for something to happen. And that's what happens when you have a project like this, unless you have a computer that's really designed for it, as I clearly do not. And we haven't seen much happen here so far. We're about 20 minutes into it, and they have a goal kick. And let's see if we can win this one in midfield. And it is Fetuao who was able to win it over to Maile, and he finds Corey Nordy, who just about rounds the keeper. He's just about a step or two away from being able to do that. He had a defender closing in on him, which forced the shot. Here is Afa here with the corner. He steps back and fires up, and he finds Walter Assam, but unfortunately his header is a little bit too high. And was not a bad pass by Maile. And that Maile-Corey Nordy connection is something that the game hasn't quite recognized yet, but it is certainly something that is present here as they pass it from one way to the other, and they work very well back and forth, both of them together in harmony. Fetuao here with the corner, and he steps back and fires, and there is the first goal, and that is going to be Ioane Palipua with his first goal here of the season, and it's 1-0 for PanSa East FC. Palipua, really not much of an offensive threat, but this time around, he was able to get into the right place and just sort of get his head on it. 1, 2, 3, 4 guys around him, as well as 2 of our players, and kind of a surprise that he was able to reach that one, but he did. And here is Maile with the free kick, looking for one of the Milanis, can't quite find him, and the Milani grabs it anyway, over to Fetuao, and it goes all the way back, and I mean all the way back. This is what happens when you play in the amateur leagues. You don't see this so much in Football Manager when you're playing up in pro leagues. It's up with Maile, who I guess is onside. No, he's offside. They've called it. He had Afa wide open for a shot, and it was kind of questionable. We really couldn't see where he was located when that pass went through because of the way that we have the screen situated. It is back with Palipua now. He knocks it over to Maile, back to Lankilde, who, looking to find Corey Nordy, can't quite do it. Maile finds him, and then it goes back up to Maile for what could have been an attempt on goal, but Toa didn't quite see it. He wasn't quite on top of it, and that will knock this back for another goal kick. Palipua goes back and grabs that over to Loke. Loke back to Palipua. Palipua knocks this forward over to Maile, can't quite find him, and unfortunately they are able to get onto it, and now we are forced to defend, and we didn't really do very much defending at all there. We just sort of stood around and waited for them to knock the ball over the goal, and then figured that was good enough, and it looks like that was good enough. They have the goal kick here once again, and it's going to be Corey Nordy who has this over to Maile. That pass was a little bit too soon. Maile couldn't get behind the defenders, and that one for Corey Nordy was way out in front of him, and that was another kind of poorly executed pass. So we're having a few problems here trying to get the execution of these thread-the-needle type passes. It's Loke with it again. Loke looks forward and finds Afa. Afa over to Maile. He's got to be offside. He scores the goal, but I didn't see if the flag was up or not. And it looks like they're going to allow that. It looked to me like he was potentially offside, but it's kind of hard to see. We've had a lot of that so far in this save, as you will recall. It looks like he's in front of Afa there, which was the question. I suppose there was a defender who was in between the two of them. So it's a little bit hard. We're going to see here with this one what we say about the tight offside. Yeah, man, I'm pretty sure he's offside. I mean, it's right on the same line, so it's 50-50 probably call. If they had called that, I wouldn't have complained much about it. 2-0 for PanSa East FC. The throw goes into Norty, and it goes back forward looking for Afa. I can't quite find him, and unfortunately, Maile wasn't quite there in position. That was really poorly played by them in the back. And it's Fetuao able to grab that one, but he knocks it straight over to Sione for the opposition. And fortunately for us, he's under pressure, and he launches one far and wide of the goal, and we go back to where we were before. Fetuao probably is going to have to come off here, and we've seen kind of what happens when we don't bring him off. He looks like he's pretty tired. I mean, he's not even 20 years old either. As I've said before, the key to this team has been all these players that we have who are not quite in their 20s. They're the ones who are the real stars. And we're probably going to take him off here for Ryan Coulter and see what happens. Hopefully we won't be regretting this, but we'll see. We'll see what we can do. We want to make sure that we keep these players fresh so that we can use them for matches where we really, really need them. Up 2-0 here after halftime. I'm guessing that this is probably not going to be an extraordinarily close match, but you never know what will happen. We've definitely seen weird things happen so far in this save. It's Maile here with a free kick, and he almost is able to launch that one past the wall and into the goal. Ends up forcing a really good save. And it's Viali back to Palepua, who I thought I took off. Apparently I didn't. Looking for Nordy, can't find him. Over to Loke. And Loke can't do very much with that. It may have been Fetuao that I took off. I can't remember what I did. Milani now with the ball. And he passed that over to Corey Nordy, who was onside. It was Maile who was off. And they are going to say that he was offside. Nordy was offside there. I thought that both of them were offside. Yeah, both of them were pretty clearly offside. It was good idea, but that's more like a hockey goal than it is a it was Fetuao I took off. It's more of a hockey goal than it really was a football goal. And unfortunately for us, they do have one back as they scored this free kick. There's not much we can do about it. It's well placed, and Atu gets a little bit of a finger on top of that one, but there's not much he can do when they go top corner like that. And suddenly it's a 2-1 game, and we may have to make another substitution there in the back. And this has me a little bit concerned. And boy, that was the equalizer right there, and that one just bounced off the top of the woodwork. And so we've got to hope and pray that we can hold on to this one for a little while longer. And it's Afa here with the corner, lumps it forward and can't quite find Ryan Coulter, who's a little bit too slow on it, and that allows them to have a potential counterattack where we're able to win it. And it's Walter Hassan with it over to Afa. That's the reason, by the way, why we always have those players back on these free kicks. Maile, man, just barely misses getting his second goal. The reason why we have so many players far back like that is so we can try to help protect against those potential counterattacks. And, man, that was a great save by Pule-Sala. Maile comes very, very close to making this a two-score game again. Ryan Coulter with it over to Palepua. Palepua lumps this one forward and just can't find anybody. But Maile is able to win it off his man and then takes a shot from way out there, almost from the... I mean, that's 3-point land there, and unfortunately for us, that's not able to go in. And so we've got about 25 minutes left here. Atu's feeling pretty bad because of that goal that was scored. It wasn't really his fault. And this time around, the game didn't really punish him for it. That was Maile's fault. I don't know who he's passing it to. He's seeing a ghost or something like that. Milani now with this, and he lumps this forward for Maile. And this is the thing. I mean, Maile's passing is so poor. We just want him to go forward and to shoot. That's all we want him to do. His passing is atrocious. Afa is going to take this corner, and he lumps it forward and looks for Walter Assam. That's knocked out for another corner on the other side. I think it's going to be Afa taking this one again. And yeah, we are going to have to take Palepua off. I'm going to wait a second before taking him off. Let's see what happens here first. And Afa's got it. He's got to be offside. And nothing is called, which is totally bizarre. I mean, you can't be any further over to the side without being out of bounds than that. We're going to stop this here for a second. Let's make a brief substitution. Like I said, Palepua is dead. So we're going to put Auguste Moe on there for him. And let's see what happens. I don't know about Moe's actual defensive abilities, though, so it's a little bit of a hope and a prayer. And it's going to be Milani with it over to Loke. Loke over to Corey Nordy. Nordy down to Afa. Afa finds Maile, who's offside. Yeah, the assistant does have his flag up. I was looking for that. I couldn't quite see it because of the colors. Afa here with the free kick. And, oh, man, that almost goes in. That comes close to going in, and that's knocked out for a throw. We have just about 10 minutes left here in this match. As I say, yeah, Maile unfortunately still hasn't quite figured out how to beat the offside trap, and I'm not sure that we have the resources necessary at the club to teach him how to do that, but this is one of those things where he's going to have to learn by doing, and yeah, we'll see what happens as they're able to win this ball in midfield, and can we defend is the question that we have. It's Teoni who lumps this one forward. Walter Assam is fortunately just able to get a foot onto it, but not able to clear it far enough. But fortunately for us, they have really, really poor aim. And that means that it's back with Atu, who lumps this ball forward, looking for Maele, and just can't quite find him. And ends up back to Ryan Coulter, who will take this one down. Looks for Afa there on the side, and is lumped back to Walter Assam, who has a horrible, horrible clearance of it. And it's Latu with the shot from range, and that was really scary. Fortunately for us, they're still in the shoot first time mode instead of trying to actually work the ball to somebody. But as you can tell, this is a little bit nerve-wracking. We've got about 2 minutes left here of added time. Atu goes back and grabs that one dangerously and then kicks it to nobody. So thank you for nothing. And he grabs that. That's one of those thanks I hate it moments. Atu goes back now and grabs it again and is looking for somebody to pass it to. And instead he just lumps it forward to nobody. I mean, Corey Nordy's never going to get there. I'm not quite sure what he's thinking. It's back with Moe, and that's where I think Atu ends up losing points because he doesn't know how to pass. Moe goes backwards to grab that one over to Walter, then to Lankilde, and his pass again is poor. And it's the midfield where we're having the biggest problems. Lankilde, though, fortunately for us, is able to go back and knock the one out for a corner. But the one thing we definitely need to improve here in the offseason is the midfielders. I mean, these guys that we have are just no good. And they have lumped this one forward. It's with Loke and over to Milani, and Milani is finally able to grab this one and bring it down. He is fouled, I would say, but there is no call. It doesn't matter, and he lumps this forward for offense instead of going to Corey Nordy, who's right in front of him. Another kind of strange decision, but that's what happens when you have a guy who's got poor passing ability. There's going to be a throw here by Walter Assam. This should probably be the end of the match. And he waits and waits, waiting for that whistle, and I don't know what he's doing. He's wiping his sweat off onto the ball. And passes this forward now to Loke, and unfortunately they're able to grab it. But fortunately for us, there's no further highlights. We've won this match. We had 1.50 XG. Their only shot on target was the goal that they scored, and we barely eked out possession, 51%. We looked pretty good in the process, and it's another victory for us. Hope you enjoyed this. Talk to you later. Bye.